Okay, we're going to begin with our piece that had the initial chain and the first row of single crochet. When we get to the end, in this case, rather than increasing all on one side of the initial chain, we're going to come around the corner and we're going to single crochet the other side of the spine. And then we're going to make this corner and go around and around as if you were running around an oval racetrack. And if you begin increasing on both sides, you'll create a form that will look like a giant kelp or a stalk of kale. It will be ruffling on both sides. And those are also very exciting forms that will yield a beautiful coral looking piece. So here we are, one row of chain, one row of single crochet. Insert my hook into that loop. Now you can see at the end we have a number of loops here that we can access, and what we want is a sort of a fan of single crochets to just get us around the corner. So there's nothing too specific here. Find some loop like that one, yarn over, rotate and pull through. It's a bit tight, it's okay. Yarn over again, and there's another single crochet. Find another loop, just a single strand. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over again. There's another single crochet. Look again, find another loop. Make another single crochet. And I'll hold it in the original position. Here's where we started, and you can see that we're fanning around that end point so that we can eventually come around, and we're joining back down to our original. I'm going to do another one there. Back to our original chain, because there's that tail of our original slip knot. Right back to the beginning. And in fact, I'm going to find a loop here. It's almost the very first loop we made. Pull through, 2 loops, yarn over, another single crochet, and I'm going to go back into that same loop, basically like an increase. Okay, and at this point we see our original chain stretching before us here. And because it's a single chain, we're going to be looking for just a single loop to go through. I'll stretch it out. I'll show you where that first loop is. I'll engage that loop, yarn over, pull through both, another single crochet. Here's our next single loop from our original chain. It's a bit tight, that's okay. Yarn over again and pull through both loops, another single crochet. There's our next space, our next initial chain. Go through that single loop, through. These are a bit tight. Yarn over and through both. Another single crochet. So we proceed through all the dozen initial chains or loops that we made in the very first step. another single crochet. We're going to work all our way down to the end. And when we get to the end, because we want to go around that racetrack over and over again, we're going to do the same thing that we did previously, of stacking a bunch of stitches in the end to fan out and bring us around again. It will bring us around to our first row of single crochet. Almost done. So here we have this going around the corner here. And here's a loop. And again, find a loop. Here I'm finding another loop just in front of it. And in order to fan around, I'm going to put 2 single crochets in that one space. And this next loop, I'm going to put 2 in there so that I'm really packing those stitches around that corner. And now here I am. Here's our history. We came this way with a chain. We came this way with single crochet. We came around the corner. We made our first row of single crochet on this side of our first chain. We've come around the corner. And now we merrily go along row after row, around and around, and as you go, increasing in whatever intensity you desire. And every time now you're dealing with a nice double V-shaped loop. And as you build that on either side and come around the oval, you'll be generating some beautiful hyperbolic forms. I like going through the 2 here, but if you want to, you can experiment with going through just the back loop or just the front loop. And as you become more advanced, you'll come across patterns that indicate that by saying back loop only or front loop only. It just gives you a different look. It gives you a sort of a ridge. But you can experiment with that. But for now, go around and around, increasing as you desire, and see what happens.